So, my name's Eli, and I am the host of the TechSoup Connect Canada chapter. Today's webinar will give you a step by step blueprint to build high converting automated lead generation systems. You'll learn how to attract and nurture qualified leads to grow your organization even while you're asleep. What magic that could be. And with that, we've got our guest expert, George, who is a seasoned website marketing manager and operations specialist dedicated to amplifying your online visibility and ensuring a seamless audience experience. With over a decade of expertise, he excels in data driven marketing strategies, optimizing your websites, and making everything run smoothly and beautifully. George, over to you.
Thanks for the introduction, Eli, and welcome everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. Today's presentation we're going to talk about is referred to as lead generation in general, and I know in the nonprofit versus for-profit, a lot of words can transliterate to different meanings, but overall, when you think of nonprofits and lead generation, that you think about your donors, your supporters, contributors, etc. We're going to talk about the way to build a system that will help amplify the thing that we have the least of, which is time, and then help you keeping the people who choose to support your mission the most, keep them informed, keep them educated, keep you and your organization top of mind when it comes time for donations or events to support the organization. They are aware, they know what's going on, and they want to contribute because they fully recognize and choose to align with the values that you provide. So I'm gonna so today we're going to go over a few different pillars, starting with the first one, understanding your audience. In a nutshell, just understanding exactly the common people who relate to your cause and to your mission, how to talk to them. Next is nurturing them through content. This is going to look in many different ways, but being able to provide them information or other means to be not entertained, but engaged throughout the time they choose to interact with your organization. Next is pick the right tool, choosing the tools that will help support you. I know just working in this industry for many different years, there's noise in every turn that you go to. And then, of course, now with the age of AI coming about, there's a bunch of different noise going on. So you really get information overload. So we're going to help you sort through a few of the tools to give you some decisions if you don't quite have a tool picked out for a particular use. Or some of them, and I'll give you some of my recommendations. And then last but not least, test, optimize, and scale. You cannot improve what you don't measure. So I'm going to go over what you need to measure on what works and which help you devise what you need to do to help grow and improve where you are today. Again, my name is George Woodward, marketing operations engineer, and then on the fourth side is RevOps specialist. Just in a nutshell, what someone told me, I'm the marketing technology crime scene cleanup guy. So any type of organizations, businesses that deal with their marketing, communications, and operations bottleneck, I'm the guy they call to come in and fix those things, improve them without increasing the capital or adding any new complexity to their business. As Eli said, for over a decade, I was talking to someone earlier. I've been doing this now for almost 15 years, working with organizations across the globe. So I truly enjoy what I do. Marry marketing strategy and technology together, which are some things I love to do and create the game plan for a lot of organizations. So much of the information you're going to learn today is battle tested stuff I've actually encountered, and you're gonna get a game plan in the middle of it all. You walk away from it, and if I'm not mistaken, Eli, they're also gonna get a recording of this presentation. Is that correct?
That's the truth. You will
You
all get a
Yep.
recording of this, and it'll be in your inbox Wednesday.
Yeah, perfect. And I'll send you a copy of the slides as well, Eli. So when we send out the video, you can all have a copy of this too. All right, so jumping right in, the realities for many nonprofits and most nonprofits that we deal with, plainly put, nonprofits, while their daily engagement was very noble because we support a lot of different causes, they do not have the backing of a traditional for-profit organization. So whenever you are dealing with nonprofits, when your organizations come up, when it comes up to communication, technology, things like that, there's always that problem of being cash strapped. The reality that you have here of trying to do a lot of things by hand can cause a lot of burnout. And you end up relying for word of mouth and just hoping for the best. Word of mouth is one of the best form of marketing, but it's the most time marketing. You're doing a lot of manual outreach and manual legwork and labor, and it can wear down or burn you out a lot quicker. When it comes to the side of your technology, your website, you're getting a lot of traffic. It's good if you've taken advantage of, for example, the Google Ad Grant program where they provide 10K per month for nonprofit. You're driving traffic to your website, finding you in search, or they're finding you on social media, and you're getting all this visibility, which is great, but people are not converting. They're not doing what you're intending for them to do once they arrive to your website. Another reality is that you don't have the follow-up system. This kind of piggybacks or marries into the first point. You're doing all of this by hand or manually, reaching out. People are donating or they signing up for events, or you might have volunteers coming in and you need to follow up with them. We're all busy. We all have a lot going on and maybe some have distractions. So having those reminders or things in place that are constantly keeping people engaged with your organization, you don't have that system in place to keep people interested. The fourth one is the reality that many people across many different mediums are dealing with. You're just stretched thin, you're burnt out, and doing things manually. We're all tired. We have so much going on, and having those systems in place can avoid this. But the reality of it that a lot of people are just stretched thin. One person is doing the job of 3 or 4 people or a team, and just not having the time to implement these things or follow up is a challenge. And then last but not least, you need to do more, but you have less. So is where do you start? That trying to figure out what could you do with what you actually have now in your hand. So if this sounds all familiar, I promise you're not by yourself with it. So we're gonna jump in here to first set the groundwork. What is lead generation? Basically, lead generation is attracting people who are interested in what you do and giving them a reason to actually want to stay interested and connected with your organization. So on the for-profit side, what that sounds like is leads equal potential buyers. The goal is always to make money to close deals, and it's always measured by revenue. But with you operating on the nonprofit side of the world, for you all, leads looks like donors, volunteers, advocates, members, people who are actually engaging with your mission and supporting you in whatever way that looks like. And the goal is always to build lasting relationships. Relationships make the world turn. And just having those people in place that help support the mission helps you build that lasting effect years and years down the line. And how that's actually measured for you is by the engagement and the impact that you cause. Are people signing up for the events? Are people attending the symposiums, coming to the galas, or helping with the community service events, wherever that may look like, or even coordinating or building relationships with for-profit partners? Having them support the brand, support the nonprofit, providing the services and resources that they have that can help support you. So that's all what's included in the lead generation from a nonprofit perspective. So when you start doing this, anytime you do any type of marketing communications, the foundation of it all is know who you're talking to, knowing your audience. Building anything of substance, you have to know who is the person that would take advantage of or benefit the most from what you provide. So here's a 4-step way to determine that or help figure that out. First is who are you trying to reach? In nonprofit case, you have donors, you have volunteers, program participants, members. Sometimes this can be all the above. Sometimes, depending on what the particular marketing campaign is, it can be one of these or a combination of all of these. But first and foremost, who are you trying to reach? Answer that question plainly and clearly. And then the second one is what problems do they face that your organization solves? So, step up from number one is once you figured out who you want to talk to, what is it they're dealing with in their day-to-day life, commonly framed as pain points? What pain points do they have or they're facing at the moment? that what you provide, services or products that you provide can actually solve those or put ease to the pain points that they're dealing with. Number 3, where do they spend their time online? So 1, once you figure out who you wanna talk to, and then 2, once you figure out what problems that the people you're talking to are facing, finding out where are they? Where do they spend their time online? It does email work best for that audience? Is social media a great place to find a lot of the people you're trying to attract? And then, of course, for social media, it breaks down depending on what platform you want to go to. And then, of course, last but not least, is search engine. People use search all day, every day online. So would it be better to utilize the power of search engine optimization, Google Ads, and then of course now with the explosion of AI, optimizing your site or AEO, which is answer engine optimization, or GEO, generative engine optimization, which are fancy ways of saying AI search. So if you're is your target audience the ones that are utilizing AI the most or any of these other platforms? So then once you've figured out who you're trying to reach, what problems they're dealing with, you found out where they are actually spending time online, then last but not least, what would make them raise their hand and say, tell me more? So what this looks like, depending on the goal of the conversion, is what would make me want to take the next step. So in this case, if you're looking at donors, you guys are running a seasonal campaign, maybe you support school K through 12 with your organization, and you're looking for donors to help fund maybe the next wave of school supplies. What could you do or what could you provide that would make them say, yes, I want to contribute to the cause, helping more kids get access to technology or more supplies? But that's what that looks like in summary is the next, what would you do to encourage them to say, I want to move forward with this relationship and provide whatever I can or sign up for what you are offering? What is the next step for me? And I'm very interested in what doing that. And one thing you could take away from this as an exercise is write down one sentence describing who your ideal supporter is. This will help you solve number one. And the best way to figure this out for your ideal supporter is look back at previous supporter. Who has supported you in the past? Who has done the conversion? Who's made it all the way to step 4 whenever you have launched some type of marketing or communications campaign or some type of event, whatever the case may be, who has already done it once before, that could usually give you insight into who would be considered your ideal audience or the ideal target that you're trying to reach. So that's a exercise that you can walk away with on that front. Then once you've gotten their attentions, once you started speaking the language that they choose to hear, once you start to acknowledge the pain points they're dealing with and you've encouraged them to make that next step, then the other side of that is, or the next step beyond that is creating a lead magnet. In summary, a lead magnet is something of value that the person can download, can subscribe to in exchange for some type of usually just contact information, name, phone number, or even signing up for an event and getting their contact information there. So what type of lead magnet? And there's the 4 different ways that you can accomplish it. First is a checklist or guide. These are usually really simple. 5 steps to 5 ways. A checklist of these are the 10 steps you should do for XYZ. Checklist or guide. A free webinar workshop like we're on now. If it benefits you to pre-record a webinar or workshop that actually contributes to what's called evergreen content that constantly runs and nurtures your audience without your effort. So if you're able to do a webinar or workshop, these work extremely well. In my experience, as well as assessment of data, webinar workshops work extremely well, especially in today's time because we all have come out of the whirlwind time frame of COVID. So we all are craving that attention and getting that human connection. So I've learned that webinar workshops work extremely well when you're trying to connect with an audience. So this is one way to have a lead magnet. Next is a report or toolkit. A lot of times nonprofits have to release a lot of those quarterly reports or some type of state of the union type of report. If you have like a research component to your organization, those research reports, fundraising reports, the fundraising reports. Recently, there's a nonprofit here in Houston, Texas that I support, and we attended a gala that they ran, and they provided a fundraising support. Their nonprofit provides meals for a lot of disadvantaged people, and one of the things that they provided during the gala was the numbers of support. I think it was somewhere north of 5 or 6,000 families were fed each month over the last year, providing that type of data, but some type of report or toolkit. And then last but not least, an assessment or quiz. If there's to the point of what I was referring earlier, the pain point, maybe it's something, and I'm using this as an example, in a mental health capacity. One common thing a lot of people are dealing with these days, burnout, is are you feeling like you're burnt out? Here's a quiz to help you guide you or to determine if that's the case. So something like that to help them assess a quick win based on what they're dealing with right now. And the last line says, the best lead magnet is solve a specific problem that your audience already has. So it does well, excuse me, I'm dealing with allergies. So it does well when you are talking to your ideal audience, like I mentioned before, and you're speaking to what they're dealing with. If your lead magnet gives them a quick win that solves the problem they're dealing with right now, you already have won the game. So it's something that is actionable, advisable, something that quick, doesn't take long to consume and long to actually implement. And that's a very good basis for a lead magnet. So now you figured out who your audience is, you figured out who you're trying to talk to, you figured out the message you're trying to send them. You've now provided some type of actionable guide, quiz, workshop, toolkit, whatever the case may be, some type of lead magnet that helps them solve immediate or quick win that they get now. And then once you've done that, next is to follow up to nurture them with educational content. In the for-profit world, there's a common saying, there's fortune in the follow-up. And essentially what that means is whenever you're doing outreach to people in your target audience, likely there is what's called some type of cognitive bias there, which really means that they see you as someone trying to reach out for a particular reason. So they're hesitant with moving forward. And then building the foundation from earlier, when you know your audience and you're speaking to something relevant to that audience, it shows them like, okay, they actually know who I am and what I'm dealing with. And then the lead magnet is, and I'm not saying this in a malicious way, but the hook for the fish. You're using the lead magnet to say, hey, we provide more, but before you decide to want to take advantage of our product services, here's something that we can offer you for free to help you alleviate XYZ that you may be dealing with or help you improve XYZ. And it's okay, that's great. And now again, that's the hook that gets them in. But usually what happens is people would download the lead magnet or take advantage of it, and then the communication stops there. And then maybe weeks or months down the line, then you try to send out an email or something like, "Hey, you downloaded this 6 months ago. We just seeing everything okay. We have this fundraising campaign come up. Would you mind donating?" And then I don't remember who you are because I haven't heard from you in so long. It's just like a regular relationship. It hasn't been nurtured. So then this step comes in. This is what is the bread and butter. Because going back to what I was saying, there's fortune in the follow up. The follow up is what builds the anticipation and the nurturing into the relationship to keep you top of mind when it's time for the particular person to take advantage of or wanting to do said thing that's going on, they already have someone in mind. So when you're creating a nurturing campaign, educational always works best because you're teaching them. The lead magnet gives them a quick win, and then the nurturing part of it with the follow up educates them further based on the information you provided in the lead magnet. And we'll break this down here. So once they opt into it, you deliver day one immediately in minutes. Send them the lead magnet and kind of a welcome email. You're rolling out the red carpet with a doormat with their name on it. You're sending the lead magnet and you're saying like, "Hey, thank you for joining. Thank you for taking advantage of this particular information. Over the next few days, the next couple of days, we're going to send out more emails with additional value that reemphasizes or reinforces what you consumed in the lead magnet. And that's day one. So what you're doing, you're planting this seed of anticipation that, okay, they've given me a quick win. They've helped me solve this immediate problem. Now I feel better about trusting to listen to them more because they're going to share even more valuable content. So then it moves over to email number two, which is normally sent a few days later. A few is subjective. So 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, depending on your audience. You share a quick win, something helpful, something quick, a nice guideline that I like. I'll just say this based on, we'll go with the checklist guide lead magnet. 5 steps to apply for our program. Okay. They signed up. Then the first email that goes out is the actual 5 steps in the ebook format. They get that, they get the welcome, and then a few days later, email 2 comes with a quick win. What I like to do is take maybe 1 or 2 of those quick wins, 1 or 2 of the points out of the 5 steps, and go further, go deeper into that. So you give the additional wins within the second email. And then a few days later, the next email that comes out, this is an impact story. If, not if, but one of the steps within the lead magnet actually solved a problem for someone else. You got an email or somebody met you at a conference, whatever the case may be, but someone benefited from what you provided in that guide. You want to tell this story here because what that does relationally is say, hey, someone was in your shoes at one point, and when we provided them services, products, they attended an event or whatever the case may be, they benefited greatly by improving XYZ. They also took advantage of said service and it helped them build XYZ, however the case may be, or what that looks like for you. But your impact story tells the reader that someone else also got a win out of what you provided. And then once they got that email, a few days later, you share a resource or a case study. This one is a more research based. The impact story is the more of the emotional heartfelt story, but the resource, a case study, is the more research based hard data numbers because but especially those who are on your donors list, they want to know that their contributions are going to a legitimate cause. So providing them with the case studies and the research and the resources about how those contributions are being utilized. For example, again, with the nonprofit I supported, they were feeding 5 to 6,000 families per month over the last year. And one of their big case studies were working with a lot of the major food banks in the area as well to be able to share when the whole COVID situation happened. And just seeing how the community came together to try to pool resources, and that was something that was sent out, and it had a great impact. That showed that not only are our services benefiting people who are consuming it, but it is also benefiting by creating partners and relationships in this same arena, and it's helping everyone to grow in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So that's a one way that you can provide that, or a case study. You provide mental health services and someone who may be struggling with anxiety, just for example, and then going through your program after 6 months, they're able to provide a live testimonial to let others know how well the program has benefited them. That's what that type of email would look like. And then last but not least is email number 5, invite them to take the next step. So again, the whole purpose is to get them to take advantage of or to take the next step toward whatever you're trying to get them to. So then that's that email that's in place. Invite them to take the next step. These quick wins, the impact stories, these case studies, if they've proven to show you value, if they've proven to show these are beneficial services or products or the event that we held are valuable to others and they have impacted you in a certain way, we invite you to come sign up or take advantage of the products and services that we provide. You want to keep it simple, keep it easy. 5 emails over 2 weeks is enough to start out. But once you start improving I would say anywhere from 5 to 7 emails is the sweet spot. You wanna go too far, and then when I say the 5 to 7 emails, that's strictly for the lead generation. Newsletters are a completely separate thing, but you wanna set a regular cadence for that. But as far as trying to attract people for a singular purpose in a lead generation campaign, 5 to 7 emails over the span of 2 to 3 weeks is usually a good sweet spot to have. It's enough of a cadence to keep people engaged, but not too much where you're bombarding them with so many emails to the point they're like, okay, I don't want to deal with them anymore. So they go ahead and unsubscribe off your email list. So now you've talked to your audience, you understood your audience, you've created something of value for them to take advantage of. You've spoken to them and nurtured them throughout a couple weeks. And now you want to build the trust and position yourself as an expert. So the why this works into what I was mentioning earlier, the cognitive bias, people support organizations they trust. So if they can't trust you, then they won't take advantage of or they won't support the mission. So trust is built through consistency and value. Again, with the automation of building the lead generation with the nurturing campaign and the lead magnet, that's the consistency and value working together. The initial value is the lead magnet, something actionable, quick you can take advantage of. And then having the automated sequence of emails sent out, that's consistency and value compounding on each other. And how you continue to build trust, one, is to show your work. Again, this is not just within the lead generation of the emails, but also externally, social media or through your newsletter. Share the results, show the impact numbers, any testimonials or stories from the field that you can gather that goes out to your ideal audience. Again, being consistent, showing up regularly in their inbox and on social media. Like I mentioned earlier, they download the lead magnet, they get the initial welcome email, and then they still hear from you for months. Don't be shocked that, your numbers don't look well once you try to re-engage the campaign. Now, it does not mean that once you re-engage, it can't improve. It can, but it's not going to be an immediate improvement if you try to re-engage after a period of going ghost, as I like to say. So, but showing up regularly, being consistent, that helps build that trust, that value to show people like we're here to help, we're here to provide. Educate first, always educate. Get valuable information in people's hands, especially like I mentioned earlier, with a lot of noise that's going on online, dealing with information overload. People don't know where to get the valuable information. If you're able to provide value immediately to get them in and then consistently nurture them through more educational information, that would build that trust within the relationship there and more value, and it compounds from there. And that happens before any ask that you have in the future. And another way you can leverage that through social proof. Again, testimonials is one. If you have any partnerships or media mentions, any PR mentions, that's one good one. If you're a part of any nationally or occupationally recognized organization or board that your organization is a part of participates in, that's also a good thing. You can add those in your emails. Those can be displayed prominently on your website as well as going on social media to help build that trust or help build that value. So now you've done all this, you got a plan, or you right now you may have your wheels spinning thinking about, okay, I have some ideas on how I can actually execute this. Excuse me. So now you need to think about the tools to set this up that you can perform and execute on it. There are hundreds of thousands of tools out there. And then with AI jumping on the scene is driving it even further. So there could be a lot of noise out there and information overload to figure out, okay, should I take advantage of this or that and the third? So in my experience, how I would relate this, when it comes to landing page, first and foremost, these are some of the most widely used ones that I've seen that work well. My background started off as a WordPress developer, and I still do that to this day, and I've worked with WordPress for ages. The reason why I like it, one, it's open source software, so it's free. Two, because it's open source, you own it. So if anything were to happen wherever you're hosting the site, you can transfer hosts and still keep your site intact. Another is Card. This one is a very relatively inexpensive service that can help you build landing pages pretty quick. Canva sites. I'm sure many of us, including myself, use Canva daily or at least regularly. And Canva has a way of letting you create like a quick website that you can build from your branding kit. So that's one I've seen that works pretty well. People who may need to get a quick micro site up or something they need to build for a one-off situation. MailChimp landing pages, that works well, especially if you utilize the email marketing of MailChimp. So everything's built in right there in one, so you have it all there. Email marketing, again, MailChimp, that's pretty popular because they have free tier. Constant Contact is another one, and if I'm not mistaken, I haven't used them in a while, but if I'm not mistaken, I think they have a nonprofit discount plan. Don't quote me on that, but I think that is the case. I remember a couple years ago I saw that. HubSpot, that's another one. It's a free CRM, but as you grow, it also grows with you, and it's a very robust piece of marketing software, but it works really well. On the forms and data capture, Google Forms. If you're a nonprofit, many of you guys, you know who TechSoup is. Quite likely you have used or are currently using Google Workspace for free. So if you take advantage of that, you get Google Forms and be able to utilize it. So I highly suggest taking advantage of it. Fluent Forms, that's a WordPress plugin. That's one I love to use quite a bit because it's very simple, very easy, and budget friendly for a lot of organizations. And it integrates with a lot of external systems. That's another reason I like it. Typeform is another form system, very popular, a lot of integration. I believe they do have a free plan as late as well. And then there's Gravity Forms. That's another extremely popular WordPress plugin that has a huge ecosystem of additions and add-ons, but that one's a good one too. And then last but not least, analytics and tracking. You can't improve what you don't measure. So if you're not tracking your data, you're bound to cause more confusion. Of course, the granddaddy of them all, Google Analytics or GA4 as they're referred to now. That's extremely popular. Everybody knows it. So I should just take advantage of it if it's there. UTM parameters. If you're not entirely aware of what this is, if you've ever looked at a link and it had a question mark with a bunch of different words and letters and stuff that don't make sense behind it, those are called UTM parameters. And in a nutshell, what they do is like tracking. So if you're, let me just say, for example, I have a government organization here in Houston that I manage their website for, and they constantly need to track where a lot of people are. Constantly need to track where people are coming to the website from because they utilize a lot of mailers, physical door hangers, and postcards that have QR codes on them. So we create parameters on the end of the URL that's embedded in the QR code that will let us know that this particular person scanned this code rather than found or went directly to the website. So it helps you decipher where your traffic is coming from and what campaigns are working best. Another is email open rates. This is data usually found within your email marketing software, but really just measuring your email campaign, how many people are opening your emails, how often they're clicking if there are links in those emails, how often people are engaging, what emails are bouncing or are basically not being delivered to your email address. And why that matters, I didn't put this in this presentation, but why that matters, if you have a high bounce rate on email marketing software, a lot of times those platforms would either start off by automatically removing people off your mailing list, or they could eventually shut down your account because there's a thing called domain reputation. I won't go too far into that, but they're basically trying to minimize spam accounts. That's the whole goal. And you want to track those email rates, specifically in this case, bounce rates. So people who not getting your emails, you want to take them off your list. You have a health list. Why? So I gave you some extra info there. But yes, you want to make sure you're selecting the right tool. Always start out with free. We all love free. I love free. And then once you start growing, if you have room to grow and room to improve and increase your plan, then albeit go for it. But these are some good starts here if you don't quite have anything in place or you're looking for possibly ideas. These are a lot of good tools that you can use to do that. Then all, of course, is putting it all together. So this is what the system looks like from start to end. First is beginning with the attraction phase. You have your social media, search, and referral. You're posting on social media. You have a cadence set up where people are in your pointedly, and I'm saying that loosely, pointedly creating posts that are driving people to a link in the bio or a link in the comments or a link in the post itself to get them into download the lead magnet so they can go through the entire system. Search, it's plain and simple. You using the Google Ad Grant, you're setting up landing pages on your site to send traffic to these particular places and driving the traffic and then referrals, of course, to people word of mouth. And then once they have found you and found you interesting, you capture their information. They get on the landing page to download the lead magnet. They sign up for the email list. They sign up for the event. Basically capturing their information so you can include them on your communication for it. Next, it's nurture. Again, self-explanatory, like I mentioned earlier. You attracted them, they're interested. You capture their information, that's saying they want to learn more. And then the nurture, this is I actually see in a percentage wise, this is 80% of your work right here, number three. Now you're constantly educating them even more, providing more content, more value as time is going by. And then eventually you want them to convert. Again, start with the goal in mind. So you want them to sign up for, you want them to donate XYZ. Then when you get to convert stage, this is where you ask. You have the CTA to donate. You have the CTA or the call to action for them to want to sign up to volunteer, to join your program, to join your gala, to sign up for if you're sponsoring a race, a 5K race, whatever the case may be. This is where you implement that ask. And then once you've done 1 through 4, number 5 is the data that you extracted from 1 through 4, so you can test and improve. Again, you can improve what you don't test. So if you're testing, you're tracking your data, tracking your information, then you can improve. And again, like this says here, it's not a loop. It's not a set it and forget it. That's a common misconception. It's not a set it and forget it moment. This is something that's iterative. So it's constantly evolving, constantly improving, something that always gets better and better. Because how you, not what, but how you benefit from that is once you have now honed in on what works, you're able to duplicate this whenever new initiatives, events, information, programs, etc., come up. Because we ran this campaign, 6 months we ran it, did our tests, did our improvements, we got it to where it's at a consistently succeeding point. Now we can set this as our foundation of what we should do for every marketing campaign going forward. And this is at the bottom. I won't go into detail, but some of the key metrics to track for those campaigns. But finding what works, finding what you're trying to track, usually within the realm of these metrics here, is what you need to keep an eye on. So that helps you again when you're duplicating your efforts or you're looking to launch something new. You already have the foundational definition of what you should do going forward. And then if I pushed it a little further, but it should have been the previous slide. So this is the test, optimize, and scale. When you're testing, try different options for lead magnets. Quiz may work for this particular audience. A checklist may work for this particular audience. Like I said, for webinars work really well with building that trust that you're seeing a physical face, you're interfacing with someone that's actually real. Test your subject line. When you're sending out your email, there's a thing, if you may have heard it, called A/B testing. Does this one or this one work better? I have 100 people on my list. I'm gonna send 50 this email subject and this 50 the other subject, and see which one you get the best engagement off of from there. Experiment with your landing page and any copy, not just landing page, but any copy, your email copy, your social media copy. Experiment with that, test it, and see how well it works. Run small ad campaigns to try to gather data. I actually recently done that with Reddit, believe it or not, a gold mine that's unknown. That does not work for every audience, but it works for a lot of audiences. If you run $5, $10 a day, ad campaign with a possible lead magnet or some type of information to a blog article, try to get a data to understand who the audience is you're trying to attract. That can be extremely helpful. So once you've done all your testing, then you just double down, and in a summary of what this means is you double down on what converts and improve from there. So you did your A/B test here, you picked there, group A, group B. You found out the subject line for group B got a 20% open rate. Subject A, you got probably 15%. So we're gonna go with B. So that's gonna be our baseline for the next campaign, and then improve. And you just keep doubling down from there of what worked. And then eventually you get to the last part. It's scale, where you can automate things. Now you got a campaign, never look for perfect, but you got it running on like a 70 to 80% success rate, which is extremely well. So if you got it working there, just figure out how you can automate that thing and just let it run on its own, and then add gasoline to the fire in whatever way that works for you. And that way it'll start scaling and growing by itself. And then once it's done that, then you have your system in place that you can then set as your SOP of definition or foundation to be able to do that for every campaign that you create going forward from there. So here's some quick wins that you can do for the week. Number one, add a sign up form to your website, even if it's just joining your newsletter. If you have a form system somewhere, even if you don't have a dedicated form system when within your web platform, use Google Forms for free and send them over to the Google form to sign up. But however that looks, create a sign up form if you don't. Number two, if you don't have a lead magnet, create one. Checklist, a guide, some free resource. One cheat code to create one is look through your blog articles if you have them on your site. If there's some way in your analytics you're able to see which ones are performing well, find the highest performing article, and then create a lead magnet or a checklist from it. That works extremely well. Or if you want to go with a webinar, same exact concept, but create a website, not a website, but create a webinar based on some points you can pull out of there, 2 to 3 points at best, and just create a webinar like we're doing today. Number three, a quick win, write a quick 3 email welcome sequence. If you haven't engaged with your mailing list in a long time, it'd be perfectly right now would be great. It's Q2. We're going into the next 3 months of the year. You just drop a quick 3 email sequence in there saying, hey, haven't forgot about you. Love to hear from you. We're gathering feedback, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, whatever the tone or the value of those emails are. That's something you can look at today. Number four, if you're not utilizing it, Google Analytics, I highly suggest setting that up immediately because, again, you cannot improve what you do not track. So if you don't know what your data is telling you, then you can't improve on anything. So set up Google Analytics on your website. Even some of the email marketing software has the integration of Google Analytics, so you can track your data that way too if you prefer to go that route. But however that looks, set it up and get it rolling for you. And last but not least, post your lead magnet to social media. That's the easiest form of marketing. You have an audience out there, even if it's small, 200-300 people following you. Hey, here's something that can help you out. We want you to take advantage of it. Here's the link to go download to learn more. So recap. Number one, set your foundation. Know your audience. Who they are, what do they need? Number two, create a lead magnet. Some reason, provide some value upfront for free to give them a reason to provide their information. And then number three, whenever they signed up, now you have to build that 3 and 4 will say. You have to build that trust, build that value, nurture them with content through just a simple email sequence from there. And then once you planned all that out, then number 5, pick out your tools, figure out what you're gonna use to help you execute on this, make your decision, be decisive, cut the line in the sand, don't spend too much time overthinking it, don't over engineer it. Even if you sign up for MailChimp's free plan, they give you 500 contacts free. I think it's so many emails per day that you can send. Set up 3 to 4 emails in an hour, something simple, short, concise, clear that is valuable for your audience, and then send it out to the wild. And then once you create those tools, build all your foundation, test and optimize, send it out to the wild, figure out how you're testing, how things are working, and then measure what's working and grow what does work. So we had a good discussion today so far, mostly myself. I want to now focus on Q&A. If you guys have any questions, I think there were some questions in the chat here.
Well, that I'm going to start with a really basic one, which is how do I know if Google Analytics is actually installed on my website? Is there something I should be doing to look at sources or a website I can check that tells me if it's there? Like, how do I know if I've got a problem?
So there is if you use Chrome, I cannot think of the top of my top of my head, but there in Google Chrome, there is a Chrome extension called Tag Analyzer or something to that effect, but you can search for it. But it would tell you if once you install the extension in Chrome, then you go to your website and you click on the extension, it'll give you a drop down to show you if you have Google install or what pixel tags, so like Facebook
Awesome.
pixel,
Perfect. And
all
through
the
the wisdom of the crowds, it looks like Anna's saying it's called Tag Assistant.
tag. There you go. There you go. So yes, use that tool, and that'll help you determine it. If you like playing in code, if you go into the back end of the site and you see anything that says Google Manager or Google Tag or G Tag, that is some type of Google tag that's set up on your website, and that can give you a good direction of where you need to go.
Awesome. So I've got a question here from Lori who's trying to get a sense of how long should I budget for a project to set up one of these funneled systems? Just like an afternoon project? Should I give myself a month? What's it look like?
So of course, the answer nobody likes to hear is it depends. But the truth in that is it really depends based on what the end goal is. I would say, honestly, for even the most basic campaign, give yourself about 2 weeks. That's enough runway that'll help you solidify your audience. And the heavy lifting in it is creating the content that goes along with it. But I say give yourself about 2 weeks for a very basic campaign. Then, of course, if there's a lot more that needs to go into it, of course, it takes longer. But I honestly, in my experience, about 2.5 weeks, especially now with AI, good at prompting, that can help speed up the process. When it comes down to like with creating like a lead magnet or something, don't go, but you're not trying to create something that's going to hang up in the Sistine Chapel. Just make it simple, make it clean, legible is what you want to go with, easy to consume. So give yourself about 2 weeks, enough time to create everything. Start to finish.
Great. I've got a question here from Jamie. Actually, Jamie, if you want to come on mic and just ask that so we can dig into the details, that would be helpful.
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to know basically some of this is assuming you're getting quite a bit of like website traffic that you're not able to convert as a nonprofit. But if we have an organization or in my case, a client who isn't driving a lot of website traffic, but might be getting social media engagement, do you see the similar strategy where you put out the hook, just sharing it via social media? Would you try and get people onto the website and then do the sign up through that? Is that like a benefit to doing either of those? Or yeah.
I'm honestly, the social media component is what we say the top of the funnel. So that attracting the traffic. And really beyond that is the direction you choose to go. Really, when it comes down to the lead magnet situation, they have to go somewhere to download it because on social media you can't download material. Now you could provide like a direct link to the lead magnet, but that kind of voids the idea of having a lead generation system because you're not capturing their information. So I guess to answer the question, then yes, if you're using social media, which is great to get the attraction and you're going the viral route, instead of maybe getting them to the website specifically, get them to a specific landing page that will funnel them in, which is why they call that, funnel them into this system that you're building to start nurturing them. So to your point, having an Instagram post that's wildly viral and somewhere in the caption of the post, you can say there's a link in the bio. And then when they go to your bio, make sure you have a link that's branded specifically. The post is about anxiety in the workplace. And then you say link in the bio and they get to your bio and click on the link. And you have one that says the guide of 5 steps to help curb workplace anxiety. They know, okay, this is where I need to be. They click on it, it takes them to the page. Type in, make it simple, make it easy. Name, first name, email. It'll make it easy for them to make the conversion and then go from there. So the social media component is more for the attraction piece. So if you're getting a lot of traffic to your social media, that's great. What you need to do is do something with that traffic, capture them some way, and then getting them to that specific landing page is usually the best course of action that you need to take advantage of in that case.
Thanks. That was really helpful.
Awesome. Thank you so much, George. Really grateful for this.